Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show.
Cup of Joe Wrestling Show?
With Joey Harris. A podcast for the wrestling fan on the go. So take your favorite beverage of choice and join Joey as he takes a look at some of the biggest shows on the WWE Network.
Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Joey Harris, and we are broadcasting from makeshift studios in the shadow of South Central Virginia. Follow the show on Twitter and Blue Sky at Cup of Joe Pod. Email the show at cupofjoewrestlingshow@gmail.com. Support the show at paypal.me/cupofjoepod. I am also on Cash App and Venmo at The Joey Harris if you'd just like to send me a donation. No amount is too small and no amount is too big. And of course, patreon.com/babykangaroomedia. Bonus episodes of the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show, the Joey Harris Super Show. We've got the Green Room where I break it down with one of my guests before a show, the Book Club Baristas, and so much more. Just $5 a month for hours of extra content. And folks, we have finally made it. I always imagined we'd make it this far, and we have. Today we celebrate episode 300. Of the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show, and we're going to look at NXT Takeover Brooklyn. NXT Takeover Brooklyn was shown on the WWE Network on August the 22nd, 2015 from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. There were 15,589 in attendance. We start out with our intro. Triple H is in the ring to welcome us to Takeover. We then get the Takeover intro. Rich Brennan, Corey Graves, and Byron Saxton welcome us to Takeover. Tyler Breeze versus Jushin Thunder Liger. Breeze out first. Liger out to a tremendous ovation. They circle each other and lock up. Breeze with the early advantage. Liger comes back and taunts Breeze. Liger with a modified surfboard stretch. He then stretches Breeze and grabs his selfie stick. Breeze comes back with a supermodel kick. Liger falls to the mat. Breeze beats Liger down in the corner. Breeze with a front face lock. Breeze with a modified code breaker for a 2 count. Breeze goes back to the front face lock. Liger pushes Breeze off. Liger with a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. Breeze comes back. He gets a 2 count. He kicks Liger down in the corner. Liger with a palm strike. Liger with a somersault plancha to the outside. Liger hits the Liger bomb to get the pin. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and X-Pac are shown in the crowd. Bayley is shown with Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch giving her advice. We then get a Nia Jax vignette. NXT Tag Team Championship match. Blake and Murphy with Alexa Bliss versus the Vaudevillians Aiden English and Simon Gotch. Bliss gets on the mic and taunts Gotch in English. She calls them pathetic. Blue Pants then comes out to counter Bliss. Gotch and Blake start. Gotch with the early advantage. He gets an armbar on. Blake kicks away, but Gotch goes back to the armbar. English tagged in and got a 2 count. He gets the armbar on. Murphy tagged in, and he got the armbar from English. Back and forth. Blake tagged back in and got a 2 count. He gets a chin lock on. Blake and Murphy beat English down in their corner. Murphy goes to the headlock as he is tagged in. Blake tagged back in as English had been trapped in their corner. English with an arm drag, but Blake cuts him off. Double neck breaker for a 2 count. English comes back and Gotch tagged in. He cleans house. Murphy comes back and takes over. English fights off a superplex attempt and hits a senton for a 2 count. Blue Pants drags Bliss off the apron. Bliss kicks Blue Pants away. They start fighting back and forth. Gotch hits the Rolling Dervish to get the pin, and we have new tag team champions. Neville and Finn Balor are shown arriving to the building. Ty Dillinger versus Apollo Crews. The bell rings and they trade counters. They circle each other. Crews with a side headlock. He hits a big drop kick. Dillinger comes back with a drop kick of his own. Dillinger goes for the sleeper. Crews is fighting it. He breaks the hold. He gets a series of 2 counts. Dillinger is frustrated. Crews hits an enziguri. He hits some clotheslines and a corner splash. He hits a gorilla press and a standing moonsault to get the pin. William Regal addresses the crowd and announces the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Then the Tough Enough finalists are shown. We get a feature on the next match. Baron Corbin versus Samoa Joe. Corbin out first. Joe comes out to a massive ovation. The bell rings and they circle each other. They lock up and push off. Joe with an armbar. Corbin drives to the corner. Joe goes for the sleeper, but Corbin gets outside. Back in, Joe with a back elbow and an enziguri. Corbin goes back out. Joe goes for a suicide dive, but Corbin hits a forearm on Joe as he gets to the ropes. Corbin with a series of corner clotheslines. Corbin with a series of forearms. Joe with a roll-up for a 2 count. Joe turns it into a half crab. He turns it into a crossface. Corbin gets to the ropes. Joe gets dumped out of the ring. Corbin goes out to the apron. Joe takes him down and runs him into the barricade. Corbin comes back with a heel hook. Joe finally gets to the ropes. Corbin breaks on the 4 count. Corbin with a sidewalk slam for a 2 count. Joe hits an enziguri. Both men are down. A double count is going, both up and exchanging jabs. Corbin hits a big boot and hits a suplex for a 2 count. Corbin beats Joe down in the corner. Joe goes for the coquina clutch. Corbin with a choke slam for a 2 count. Joe gets the clutch on. Corbin fights it. He finally goes out and Joe wins by submission. WWE wrestlers and Hall of Fame members are shown in the crowd. Stephanie McMahon comes out. She talks about the women of NXT and introduces the next match. We then get a feature on the next match, NXT Women's Championship match, Sasha Banks versus Bayley. Bayley out first to a fantastic ovation. Banks out in a Cadillac. She's escorted to the ring by security. She gets in Bayley's face. The introductions are made and the belt is presented. The bell rings and they are face to face. They attack each other and exchange punches. Back and forth. Bayley puts Banks in the tree of woe. She hits a springboard elbow drop for a 1 count. Bayley with a flurry of offense and Banks rolls out. Bayley throws Banks back in. They fight on the ropes and Banks kicks Bayley in the legs. Banks with a running back elbow. Banks with a headlock. She puts Bayley in a straitjacket move. She shoves Bayley into a corner. Bayley fights back. They trade blows. Banks puts Bayley on the top rope and hits double knees for a 2 count. Banks berates Bayley, who responds by kicking Banks. Banks runs Bayley's arm down on a rope. Bayley falls out of the ring and Banks takes Bayley's brace off. Banks attacks the injured wrist. She traps it in the ring steps and then kicks the steps. The crowd boos. The referee checks on Bayley and Banks leaps over him and hits Bayley with a plancha. Banks goes to drive Bayley's arm down on the ropes again, but Bayley pushes her off. Banks gets in on the 8 count. Bayley hits a double axe handle and a back elbow. She hits a corner suplex. She goes for the belly to belly, but Banks blocks it and puts the Banks statement on. Bayley reaches for the ropes. She touches the rope and reverses the Banks statement. Banks gets to the ropes. Bayley hits the belly to belly for a 2 count. Bayley lifts Banks up. She puts Banks on the top rope, but Banks fights her off. She comes back, but Banks shoves her away again. Banks hits double knees for a 2 count. Banks puts Bayley on the top rope, and Bayley fights Banks. She reverse Frankensteiner's Banks off the top rope and hits the belly to belly to get the pin and become the new NXT Women's Champion. That was a fantastic match. Becky Lynch and Charlotte come out and congratulate Bayley. Banks then comes in and hugs Bayley, and then all 4 horsewomen embrace and take a bow. They hold up 4 fingers. Seth Rollins is shown in the crowd. They then make the announcement that NXT is coming to London. We get a feature on the next match. Main event, NXT Championship ladder match, Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens. Owens out first and he looks intense. He is fired up as he gets in the ring. Balor comes out in his demon persona. The introductions are made, the belt is presented and hoisted above the ring. It is raised and Owens berates Balor. Balor attacks Owens. He drop kicks Owens. Balor with corner whips and clotheslines. Owens hits a back elbow and a senton. Owens puts Balor on the middle rope and chokes him. Balor reverses a powerbomb attempt and hits a double foot stomp to the chest, back and forth. Owens with a corner cannonball. They trade blows. Balor hits a sling blade. He goes out and grabs a ladder. Owens also grabs it and attacks Balor with it. Balor comes back with forearms. They fight out into the crowd. Balor backdrops Owens to ringside. He jumps on Owens, who catches him and runs Balor into the barricade and then over the announce table. Owens pulls another ladder out from under the ring. Balor drop kicks the ladder into Owens from the announce table. Balor is also injured from the move. Balor puts the ladder in and sets it up. Owens grabs Balor's leg. He runs Balor into the ladder. He throws Balor out and starts to climb. Balor stops him. Owens throws a ladder at Balor. Balor hits a Pele kick. Owens clotheslines Balor. Owens attacks Balor with the ladder. Owens sentons Balor on the ladder. Back and forth again. Balor backdrops Owens into a ladder. Balor starts to climb. Owens throws Balor into a ladder. Owens misses Balor with a cannonball and hits the ladder. Balor with a drop kick and hits the coup de grace. Owens grabs Balor on the ladder and powerbombs Balor off. Balor turns the ladder over as Owens climbs, and Owens crumbles to the outside. Owens pulls Balor out and goes for the pop-up powerbomb, but Balor fights out and kicks Owens. Balor misses a diving double stomp and Owens hits a pop-up powerbomb on the apron. Owens sets the ladder up. Balor turns the ladder over and Owens kicks Balor in the jaw. He sets the ladder up and kicks Balor again as he tells Balor to stay down. Owens sets the ladder against the corner and the second ladder. He drags Balor up and tries to suplex Balor through the ladder. Balor fights Owens off. He runs Owens into the ladder and Owens falls into the second ladder. Balor reaches for the belt. He kicks Owens off. He hits the coup de grace from the top of the ladder. He climbs and grabs the title to win the match. They show highlights of the match and sign off from Brooklyn. Final thoughts. A fantastic show. The Women's Championship match is among the best ever and the show overall was enjoyable. You can follow me on Facebook, Threads, and Instagram at TheJoeyHarris. If you like the show, please leave a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or your preferred podcast app. I would really appreciate it. We can also be found on Spotify and YouTube. Just search for The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show and don't forget to hit subscribe. Thank you for joining me. This is Joey saying so long from the heart of Virginia.
The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show is a production of Baby Kangaroo Media.